Welcome back again, YouTube, to another of this Korean update video. This first few parts is not really important. I'll probably put a timestamp because I'm just gonna ramble a little bit as the introductory of this video to talk about what happened during the last 6 months since last time I made a video, because I talk about an upcoming exam, which is gonna be next week. But by the time you're listening to this video, would probably be done, something like that. Yeah, it's not really that important. And so yeah, I decreased my intensity in studying Korean because of it. So practically the last 6 months I don't use Anki. I don't read a lot of Korean. I mostly, if there's any immersion, it's probably like watching YouTube. That's like the only thing that I do. And I actually stopped using Anki. I forgot when, but that's because I don't see the value of using it anymore. I think I was like 6,000 something sentences. The reviews were all like, it was useless. I don't see any point in using Anki. And I was like, am I gonna do the 10,000 thing? Because it's like a rite of passage for most people, even though that actually came from AJAT, not from like it's very old remnants of the AJAT community. And I was considering doing that, but then I was like, you know what, it's useless and it's not fun anyway. Like the literal point of immersion is for you to find the funness of learning a language, instead of like being put in a box where you have to memorize grammar or do certain tests, because that's not how language learning works. So I decided to not continue using Anki. I might use them in the future again if I ever, before, if you want to take the TOPIK exam, which is the JLPT version for Korean, I think you should use some Anki to, memorize some words that you might never see in real life conversation, but it definitely show up in the exam. Because, a part of taking an exam, any standardized exam, is not only your knowledge is being tested, but also how good you are at taking the test, And so definitely I'm gonna use Anki for that if in the future I might ever do the test. Because I've seen other people in the community, when they were about to take the test, they use Anki and all these memorization methods. But for now, though, in this, the majority of my time going into the future, after it's almost 2 years now, which actually is less than 2 years because I don't do anything for the last 6 months. I think I'm not gonna use Anki because it's just annoying. I will though. I bought a book, one of those aesthetic book people would use in study with me videos, or bullet journaling. I bought some of them, and I'm going to write the words that I don't know with their definitions and try to summarize the book, the novels that I read. No, maybe not summarizing because I can't output using writing, but at least it's a good substitute for Anki, rather than me not doing anything and just read the book. And speaking of books, I am currently reading Une by Kumane. I don't know if this is Japanese book or something, but yeah, the book is about a typical detective mystery type thing, and yeah, I'm enjoying the first 20 pages of it right now. I just got back reading less than a week ago, because right now I'm at the point where I can just say that I don't need to focus on my studying as much, because this year I'm going to enter university. It's just going to be a massive blow to how I'm going to manage my time to still be able to immerse in Korean, but that is the goal for the near future, and that's what I'm currently doing. On YouTube, I am still mostly watching K-pop content and mostly also radio shows, because everything I watch. For example, recently I listened to a lot of radio shows where G-Idol Mion showed up, because she has a new, was it an album or an EP, I forgot, with the title track Drive, and she came to a lot of shows, and I just watched most of them. And yeah, my comprehension has not changed that much. I'm still very comfortable in listening to radio shows. I could understand the majority of it, but not all of them, obviously. And yeah, and also there's this drama that I've never watched, but because of the YouTube Shorts feature on YouTube, I watch a lot of the clips. The Sumul Tasot Sumul Hana 2521, and yeah, there's I think Kim Tae-ri is one of the lead actors, and there's this one member from Ujusonyo, and also this one actress, her name is like Lee Choo-myung or something like that, and she is really pretty, but she's like 30 years old, but she doesn't look 30 years old, so that's amazing. And yeah, I listen to some of the radio appearance that these actors they were invited in those radio shows, so I watched them, and that's what I do. That's what I've been doing. And so yeah, moving on to the goal. I don't have any specific goal for the next. Well, I'm trying to read more books. Obviously, I have a goal that once I reach 200 books that I read in Korean, I'm gonna start outputting. So it might be a year, maybe not a year, depending how much I'm willing to read. So 200 books is definitely. I give 200 books because it seems like that's a good round number and good enough, to start outputting seriously. And what I'm gonna do is that, since I also have the book that I'm using to write the words from Korean novels that I read, I'm gonna also. I've actually collected a lot of books for writing, because even in the Refold, strategy, Refold website, the way they recommend you starting outputting is from writing, because when you write sentences from writing, you have unlimited amount of time to correct yourself and to be corrected by people. And I have a ton of books that other community users have shared in the past within the Korean community. And one of the books is Sogang Writing. I have that, and also I have other books like Yonsei Writing is also in here, and then there's also books about understanding Korean college lectures. There's also intermediate college Korean. There's also topic 2 writing, that's pretty cool. So there's a lot of these books, and I'm trying to finish them too. Once I don't think I'm gonna reach 200 books even in 2 years probably. So maybe it's just an aspirational number, but it's definitely doable, definitely attainable within less than 2 years probably. So I don't know. I'll try to hit that number as much as I can. But maybe, let's say in the future, I've read like 100 books, or maybe just 80 books, or maybe even just 50 books, and I feel comfortable in doing some of the exercises in these output-based writing books. I'm gonna start doing them, before the 200 books. At this point, my goal in Korean is just to, I started doing this for a lot of reasons. The one that I mentioned a lot in the past is because I want to know how Korea got rich and their economic history. This is very interesting. That's why I started learning it. But then, more and more of the reasons why I'm studying Korean was because it's a good challenge. Obviously, it's good for the brain. I solve a lot of problems. I've seen a lot of people in the community, so it also increases my worldview of the world. I've also used a lot of technologies in here. I learned how to edit videos. I learned to use Notepad, Anki, and all these extensions in the browser and all these websites. So now I mostly learn Korean because of the sake of, it's already a habit. I have a habit of watching YouTube in Korean, so I guess that's a good thing. If there's one thing that I take from learning Korean, would probably be the fact that it's so beneficial, because it's like, I would imagine if someone is really, really good, not just regular YouTube polyglot, but actually really good to native speaker level in let's just say 3 languages, you would have lived 3 lifetimes, because you've seen what the culture looks like. And I would assume you would go to the country in the future and meet with the locals, or even have some friends in that part of the world, and I think that's amazing, and I think people who only speak one language, they miss out on that. But yeah, for me personally, because I'm very young, I'm not even in college yet, I would imagine, like, if I'm like 60 years old, the compounding knowledge and growth from learning a foreign language since I was I forgot when I started. I was 16 when I started. Wow, hang on. June of 2020, that would be... Yeah, I was 16. And now I'm 18. Yeah, that's 2 years. Is that 2 years? 2 years by June of this year. Right now it's May, so about 3 weeks from now. And so yeah, it's really interesting to see that. And I haven't even done that much. I've seen other people in the community who have done an enormous amount of progress. But also, obviously, if you want to have that much progress, you have to read even more. You have to immerse even more. And it's not really something I really want to do in my life. At the same time, I'm reading English books. My native language is not Indonesian. So, even being able to participate in these is definitely something that I'm proud of myself. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to stop with Korean too in the future, obviously. But that's like 5 years from now, because I'm not going to learn 2 foreign languages at once. That's a recipe for failure. That's a recipe for mediocrity, But for now, definitely, even Korean is like, it's been very fulfilling, and I really like it. So yeah, that's basically everything that I can say for now. I don't have any script here. I don't have any bullet list of what I'm trying to say. And yeah, and I started making these videos just to, keep myself accountable, right? And right now I'm, without even making these videos, probably I would still immerse every day, because it's part of my life right now, part of my personality, which is weird to say that. I think a lot of people who love learning languages have that, personality. Like, what's your personality? I learn languages. Like, what a nerd. But it's really fun. It's really fun, and I'm glad I'm part of it. I'm glad I discovered Matt versus Japan, and then all these weird communities split between MIA and Refold, like this weird drama. But yeah, I think it's definitely really cool, and I'm planning to learn like a lot of coding to the degree that I'm able to make a Yomi-chan version of the Korean dictionary, right? Like I hope that I can make it soon. I hope that I'm good at coding enough so that I can make a web dictionary extension that is as powerful as Yomi-chan, but works for Korean, because it doesn't exist right now, and it's so annoying. Because looking up dictionary is really annoying in Korean. It's the worst thing ever. Yeah, that's not a good experience. Whereas if you're learning Japanese, there's so many resources. I'm so envious. But we make do with what we got, and compared to other languages, it's not that bad, the resources that we have for Korean. So I'm not complaining, but I kind of don't like it either. But yeah, sorry if this is too much rambling, but I've put timestamps, and you should probably watch this at 2 times speed, because this is just me talking to myself in the future. But I would really love to be like 60-year-old and then like watching my own YouTube content that I make from when I was 18, and be like, oh my god, thank you for listening, thank you for learning Korean. dude, I'm so glad I knew all this, and I'm so glad I was born in this era. Like, I can't imagine being a teenager in the 1970s, trying to learn, let's say, Japanese. You have to go to the library. That would be... is that even possible? Do they have animes in the 1970s? Oh my god. I'm so grateful, you know, I got nothing to complain. So I'll see you. Maybe I'm gonna upload some videos reviewing books, something like that. Or seeing you my new workflow, which doesn't involve Anki, because Anki is annoying. Yeah, that should be it. And yeah, so I'm trying to aim. I wrote on my, what do you call it, like a journal type thing, earlier this year on January actually, that I want to read 80 books, 80 Korean books this year, and I haven't even finished one Korean book. That sucks. At least I'm still immersing though. That's something that I'm proud of, you know. I mean, and just because you read 80 books doesn't mean you're gonna get fluent anyway, but I'm just saying, you know, it's a good goal to reach. Yeah, I'll see you soon.